now we're kind of living in a renaissance for personal mobility devices. And that's because of two things. Batteries have gotten smaller, cheaper, more capacitous, and also electric motors have gotten, more affordable and more powerful. And so designers have, in the past, just taken those things and kind of strapped them onto existing devices like bikes or skateboards, unicycles. But now what they're doing is coming up with completely new categories of these things we call rideable technologies. And I think the OneWheel is a perfect example of this. It's not really like anything that you've ever ridden before. Looking at it, it's kind of like it's like a miniature seesaw with a big old go-kart wheel in the middle of it. And in the middle of that go-kart wheel is a hub motor. And then on the outsides, on the tip and tail, there are gyroscopes, accelerometers, all these sensors that can tell not only what direction you're leaning, but they can also kind of cancel out the wobble in your legs and kind of balance for you. So it's really easy to ride. That configuration kind of lends itself to this really unique ride. It feels like a mixture of snowboarding, wakeboarding, skateboarding. So if you have any sort of board sport experience, this thing just instantly feels, great under your feet. You feel right at home. So I actually got a chance to ride this thing at CES in Vegas, and we took it for a spin around the Vegas Strip. But the thing is, riding it on smooth sidewalk like that is not really like a good reflection of real world conditions. So I was really excited to get this thing and test it out in Portland. The Pacific Northwest, I think, is a pretty big test for ridables, particularly electric skateboards, because smooth pavement is one thing, but here we've got hills, we've got light rail tracks, and most importantly, we've got a lot of rain and puddles. And generally speaking, skateboards don't do well on those kinds of terrain. I really wanted to see how the OneWheel would fare in those kinds of conditions. And after riding it to and from, work and to the store for a couple weeks, I found that, it really is a great commuter tool. It's not just this thing that's, fun to ride. It is fun to ride, but it's not just that. You can actually legitimately use this thing to get to and from work. It can handle all of the curbs. You can go over grass, tree roots. It doesn't matter what you run into, this thing's gonna be able to charge over it because it has that big wheel. This is really the first thing that I've ridden that can stand toe-to-toe with bicycles and scooters and more traditional, transportation devices. Not only is it on that same level, but in some areas it almost exceeds it because I don't have to put the OneWheel in front of the bus when I, need to go for a longer trip. I can just pick it up and take it on the train with me, and when I'm off, I'm off. I don't have to worry about strapping it to the back of my car or something like that. It's just really easy to pick up and carry around, so in a lot of ways it's more convenient than using a bike or a scooter, but you get all the same benefits with where you can go. With the battery and the motor inside of this thing, you can get anywhere from 5 to 7 miles of range out of it without having to kick or push at all like you would on, a bike or a scooter or a skateboard. It's absolutely fantastic for commuting, but really the selling point for this thing is just how much fun it is to ride. When you have that all-terrain capability, these things that were on the sides of the roads that used to be obstacles, all of a sudden they become features. Like the way that you see where you're riding completely changes. All of a sudden you're not avoiding a curb drop, you're actually seeking it out because it's fun to go over. I feel like a lot of people see these rideable technologies as toys. They're not practical things to have, they're just for fun. But that's not how I see it. I think they really are, potentially the future of transportation. These are things that don't require gas, don't require insurance. They're relatively affordable, they are eco-friendly, they just run on electricity that you can get for pretty much anywhere. You can take them on public transportation. They're extremely useful. In the grand scheme of things, if more people were riding these things, we could really lessen our dependence on cars and other things that use fossil fuels. These are the things that could change how cities are built.